say you want to change frequencies on the fly, you can communicate with the transmitter to say,
Okay, this is Nick Houston here for Gotham Sound and Communications, here with Paul Isaacs from Sound Devices.
Great to see you, Nick.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm still alive.
Good.
It's so nice to actually come out and meet real humans again.
Now, you flew in from Wisconsin, is that right?
That's right, yeah. Yesterday, and it's plain sailing.
Great. Awesome. Well, welcome back to New York. It's good to see you again.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I've missed New York.
Yeah. Well, we've missed you, and we're glad you're able to be here, so thank you. Yeah. So I know you've got the whole Sound Devices line here.
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah. But the big thing that we want to talk about, because I know we've only touched on it briefly, is the new A20 transmitter and the integration between everything else.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good subject to cover, because I think most people are sort of familiar with the mixed breeze and the basic core of the 8 series now. But this A20 Mini is still a fairly new addition to the industry. Mm-hmm. So this is our new wireless platform, the A20, and this is the first product in that line. So the A20 Mini transmitter, digital transmitter. It's been requested of us for quite some time. You know, ever since we came out with the A10 TX transmitter, along with the A10 RX dual receivers. You know, this has been really popular, especially for on-boom type situations and reality shows and the like. But you know, there's a real need for a smaller transmitter. So this is what the Mini is about. And it's not just small, it's the way that it's shaped that I think actors and actresses really appreciate. You know, because it's so natural on the curves. They're very soft curves. You can't feel it hit the skin. It feels very natural to wear. And also the plastic is extremely robustic, and it's doesn't get hot. It gets warm, but it's not uncomfortably hot. So this is the Mini. It's digital transmission. And one of the nice things about this is it's wideband. One transmitter covers 470 to 694 megahertz, so the whole range. You don't need to worry about what you're going to hold in inventory, you know, to cover the full spectrum. And like, obviously with crowded spectrum these days, having a transmitter and a receiver for that matter that can cover 470 to 700 is a big bonus, right, in terms of you planning your inventory. Now, in terms of another key groundbreaking thing with this transmitter is that there's no gain control on it. You know, this is really sort of a brand new thing. There's no gain control. There's no need to worry about ever overloading the transmitter preamp itself, or even under recording so level, worrying about a low signal to noise, because the preamp we've designed to have really wide dynamic range with super low noise, and it can handle very high input levels. So there is no lavalier on the market that can overload the preamp in here. And the noise floor of this is lower than the noise of any lavalier on the market. So you don't need to worry about the gain control of the gain of the transmitter. You just transmit the audio, the entire dynamic range of this mic to your recorder, and adjust the gain from your recorder itself, or you can do it from the receiver. So the need for a backlink gain control is no longer necessary with the A20 system. And that has advantages, because with backlinks, sometimes you get into situations with dropouts in the signal. It's just a reality of the world we live in these days. And also that there is a latency associated with that. Whereas adjusting trim on your actual recorder, there's zero latency there. So that's a huge step forward. Now, these transmitters also have built-in recording, and that's 90 hours worth of recording. And that's uncompressed 48 kilohertz, 32-bit float.
Oh, okay.
All right? So it's impossible to clip the recordings in here. Due to 32-bit float, you can record above 0 dBFS and still clean up, reduce the gain in post, and maintain all your peaks. It's not going to be flat top. So that's a key part of this too. Now, in America, you can record or a transmit. You can't do both due to a patent. But in the rest of the world, you can record and transmit simultaneously. So let's just take a closer look inside. It's all powered from an MPBX1 standard battery, but you can also use AAA batteries, 3 AAA batteries in here. So it's nice to have those sort of options. There's the power on and off control there, that little red button, and that is also used to pair with our app. Now, the app is actually the main control interface of this. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But all that there is on the A20 Mini, apart from that red button, are a couple of LEDs. There's a power LED here, which tells you various information like the health of the battery. It also tells you whether the unit's charging, because the transmitter can be charged via its USB-C port here, just via standard 5 volts. And in fact, I'm going to talk more about this in a minute. This is like what we call a power station, which can charge and jam up to 8 of these transmitters simultaneously, but more about that in a minute. The other LED here is the audio LED. And then there's another LED down here which tells you whether you're recording as well. That will go red. So, and then we have blue LEDs on this as well when you're pairing. And if you're jammed, it will also let you know whether this is counting time code when it's powered off. So let's have a quick look at the app that controls this.
Sure, yeah.
And people have had a bit of concern about, oh, can I not control directly from the actual A20 Mini? That really worries me. Well, this has Bluetooth 5 in it with excellent range. And it's an extremely robust Bluetooth protocol that enables us from, I'll just show this here, from any tablet, this one happens to be an iPad, from any tablet, Android or Apple, or any phone, to remotely control A20 Mini transmitters. But not just one A20 Mini transmitters, many. And in fact, at the moment, you can see that I've got 5 in our a transmitter list here. I've got these 5 transmitters here. And basically, what this enables us to do is, for instance, set the frequency. And I can all do this from a really good distance. I can do this from easily 100 feet, probably 200 feet line of sight. And in here, we've had really great range testing it over a long distance, right? So it's really easy for essentially powering on and off transmitters using these on and off controls here. And when you turn a transmitter off, it's almost instantaneous. When it's in this off state, it's virtually drawing 0 current. In fact, in that off state, that battery is going to last for over 6 months.
Okay.
It's virtually negligible drain.
Wow.
All right. So it's not a standby mode. It's a true off. Okay. And look how quick it is to turn it back on again. Okay. So what this means is that you can extend the operation time during a day. You know, if at the end of a scene, there's a bit of a scene move and a change and you're moving from one area to another, just turn off all your transmitters. Now, a big request since we launched this product is, can I use an on-off control for multiple transmitters all at once? So I don't have to go through each transmitter. Yes, we're about to release new firmware in the next few days, which will allow you to turn on and off many transmitters all with one button press. So it makes it very practical. And not only that, you'll be able to, if you're using the record feature, you'll be able to turn on record and stop recording multiple transmitters at the same time as well, if you choose to use that.
Yeah.
So that's all from the app. But let's just take a look at some of the other features in the app that you can use. You can name a transmitter, okay, from here. Now that name, what is that name used for other than just showing in the app? Actually, that's a really, really important feature here. Is when I name a transmitter, that name is transmitted along with the audio to the receiver. The receiver will then forward it, if you're using an 8 series, it will forward it to the channel it's routed to. and then it will automatically get displayed and embedded in all the track metadata. So let's just demonstrate that now very quickly.
Great.
I've got this transmitter currently called Pool 1.
Yeah.
And you can see it's being routed to channel 1 on my receiver here on this A10 RX slotted into an SL2.
Yeah.
And then that channel is routed to, say, channel 1. And you can see it actually appearing here on the CL16.
Oh, yeah.
Pool 1. So let's change that name, for instance, to channel Pool 3. Okay, on here in the app. And yeah, you can see when you do that here.
There we go.
Pool
3.
Just change it. So I'm going to hit return. Boom. Like so. And then very quickly you see that name get updated here. So it's seamlessly integrated with all the recorder and mixer functionality that is not only displayed there, but it's also embedded in the metadata. So it makes it very easy to manage your talent and the different transmitters. And if you're taking an A20 Mini from one talent and then you're moving it to another, you can very easily, quickly change the name, and the name will get followed throughout the whole system.
So you're changing it once upstream, and then it goes all the way downstream.
Exactly.
Not just recording, but on the CL16. One thing I want to point out there that I saw is that it does have, it's got a function to turn the LEDs off. Because I could see some people saying like, well, why would I want LEDs on it when it's on talent?
So here's Pool 1. If it's under costume, which is very thin, you want to turn them off, you can see there if I hit LEDs off. So this is also a new feature that will be in the upcoming firmware, which is available in a few days. So yeah, and then we've also introduced in this new firmware the ability to auto resume record as well. If you've been recording, you turn off, and then next time you power up, it just automatically drop into record. Now, obviously, the other things you can do from the app are very much set the frequency for each transmitter. You can mute a transmitter. You can set the RF mode to be RF only or record. Or if you're not in America, you can do transmit and record simultaneously, which we've spoken about already. You can format the record media. Now, the internal drive on the A20 Minis is 90 hours worth of recording, so plenty there. Yeah, and you can adjust the RF power from here, etc. Now, obviously, without digital transmission, our codec, you get really good range out of just 10 milliwatts. That's going to handle 90% of applications. The range is really, really good. So you don't need to use the higher power modes in most circumstances. Yes, you still have a 20 milliwatt if you need to push it that little bit further, or if there's a lot of obstacles in the way, yes, you can use that. 40 milliwatts, yes, you'll get a little bit extra again. But I think it's understood in the industry now that you can't really compare 10 milliwatts of digital compared to 10 milliwatts of analog.
Right.
With a digital system, with our codec, we can pull out the signal out of a very low signal to noise signal. We're able to pull it, as long as we've got 10 dBs there, we can extract that signal. With analog, you don't stand a hope of doing that.
Got it.
All right, so let's just talk a little bit about this.
Show us that box.
So I mentioned just before that we have this USB-C port, okay, and that's for charging, but it's also for jamming the time code in here. If you're using the record facility, you need to be able to jam the time code. And in fact, you can see here we've got two of our transmitters showing the time code that they're running right now. It's a nice quick way to check your transmitters are all in sync. But this power station, we call it, the Power Station 8N, is essentially an 8 mini transmitter charger. And let me just demonstrate how you slot those in. So you can leave the antenna on, and then you can insert and just slide it in like so, right? And it doesn't matter which way up you put it. It's a USB reversible connector in there, okay? So you can put 8 of these in here, and they'll all charge, okay? Now this thing can be powered by 10 to 18 volts TA4 input, or via USB-C PD power supply connection. Now we also have a BNC timecode input here, all right? Now as soon as you plug timecode in, or the timecode changes its value, or what have you, it will automatically jam the transmitters to that new value. The transmitters have very accurate crystals in them. So there'll be virtually negligible drift over the course of the day. So at the start of the day, just plug in your BNC timecode source. It'll jam all your transmitters, and then they'll run all day. The other thing this can do as well, if you're using the record feature and you need to transfer all those recordings to a computer, then there's a file transfer port here via USB-C. Okay. And then that will allow you to, those 8 transmitters will all appear as volumes on your desktop, and the volume name will be the transmitter name, so you know which one's which. And then you can do whatever you need to do with them. Now, we have this free application. It's like an A20 Mini. It manages our transmitters audio. It's called SD Utility. It runs on Windows or Mac. And you can just drag those volumes into that list. And then from there, you can basically convert files. You can conform to a sound report. So, for instance, if I've been recording on my 8 series all day long, and I've been going in and out of record and entering metadata and what have you, at the end of the day, I'm going to create a CSV sound report and then import that into SD Utility, and then I can use that to automatically conform all the data out of all your multiple transmitters and create files which are exactly the right length, having all the correct metadata, scene taken, track name. And we're about to release an update to that, which will not only output those files as mono wave files, but also as one big poly file. So what you can end up with is a poly file of all your wireless transmitters ISOs.
In 32-bit?
In 24-bit or 32-bit.
32.
You
That's
get an
amazing.
option. If you select 24-bit, it will automatically normalize them to just below 0 dBFS. But you can leave them as 32-bit float as well.
But if you were using all A20s and essentially just recording, you could then at the end of the day go back and recreate 32-bit float.
Exactly, and you could create that conformed poly file which exactly matches the takes on your 8 series recorder.
Right.
In length and with the same metadata and everything. So, and it's a very, very fast process. Once you just hook up all your transmitters via, it's literally a few minutes to do that. So that, I think, gives you a broad where we are. And like I said, this new firmware for the A20 Minis, which adds this multiple transmitter power on and off and record stop functionality. It adds that, so it makes it much easier to manage huge numbers of transmitters on set from a distance. They can be all scattered around the studio or the location, and you can control them that way. That's never really been done before. No need for transmitter gain, obviously, control, because it was all done from the transmitter. We're very happy with that.
Great.
In terms of everything else, we've been doing a lot of firmware updates and on the 8 series as well over the course of the pandemic. In fact, recently we just released version 8.50, which has got all the wonderful features that we've been getting used to, like noise suppression and auto mixing and frame IO upload directly to the cloud. But we've also now support the Shure ADX 5D in our super slot in the SL2 and the SL6 with the 8 series. So we know that some people like to use the Shure. Now they can use their Shure system integrated via the super slot with the 8 series.
Great.
We're starting to see a lot more use of frame IO with our products. You know, frame IO.
They're here.
Okay.
We talked to them earlier.
Yeah, we've been collaborating with them for well over a year now, and we're seeing a massive rise in production. We've actually got a bit of software coming out soon, which improves the whole experience in a massive way. So, yeah, that's coming.
Okay.
I think that's a pretty good overview.
That's pretty good. Any questions from the interwebs?
No questions.
Okay, no questions from the interwebs.
Okay, a bit better.
Paul, thank you so much for being here.
Sure.
And thank you for watching.
Thanks.
If you want to watch this video and more, you can go to gothamsound.tv. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter for all the latest updates. For demos, questions, or anything else, please contact us at info@gothamsound.com. And thank you so much for watching. And Paul, thank you. And wherever Joel is, also thank him for making the trip.
Well, thanks for having us.
All right. Awesome. Cheers.